Today we have a special guest from United States, Sam Cassatt from Consensys, I think. Mr. Sam, could you please introduce yourself and your company to us?
Hi, my name is Sam Cassatt. I'm Chief Strategy Officer of Consensys. Consensys is a venture production studio based in New York City. So what that means essentially is that we build and fund blockchain companies. We began at a time when there was no blockchain ecosystem. The word blockchain wasn't known. The infrastructure was not built yet. You could equate this perhaps to 1991 when there were no web servers, there's no infrastructure out of which to build any technology companies. So we began sort of building everything. So we built infrastructure companies. Our company Block Apps, for instance, invented the concept of blockchain as a service and is deployed on Microsoft's Azure cloud. We have Uport, which is our digital identity solution. We have Infura, which is our DevOps stack, for instance. Along the way, we became fairly central to the ecosystem, and Fortune 500s, governments sought us out to seek our consulting services, seek our solution delivery consulting services. So we take the technology and the learnings and the paradigms that we've built by building our own companies and help large entities also explore the blockchain ecosystem.
So as we understand that blockchain is a huge world of new technologies, and it has been told us that blockchain is the biggest revolution after the internet technology. Are you agree with that? And what is the power of the blockchain from your perspective?
So I would agree with that statement that blockchain is significant. If you think of the internet as a movement of information around our world, you could think of blockchain as the movement of value around our world. Some people call it the internet of value. It has the potential to disintermediate the processes that normally extract a lot of value from our economy. So for instance, when I have a bank that intermediates a transfer, when I have a legal system that intermediates a transfer and requires the machinery of government, the machinery of a court system in order to execute an agreement, that costs money. It costs money to our economy. And to the extent that we can have a platform, a technology platform, that implements that and executes that automatically, it reduces the cost of our entire economy. It reduces the cost and increases the amount of coordination that can happen at a lower cost.
So blockchain is a technology, and there are some platforms that you can run blockchain on them. Ethereum is one of them. I think you are focusing on Ethereum. So what could you say us about Ethereum? What makes it powerful and different than the other platforms of blockchain?
What's different about Ethereum versus the other platforms is, one, it is built around smart contracts. It's built from the ground up to be an application platform as opposed to just a cryptocurrency platform. It was designed from that perspective initially. Two, because it inherits from an open source community, because it inherits from a public version, there are also private versions that can enjoy the open source community, they can enjoy the benefits of that development. I personally view, and I think our company Consensys views, a future where privacy and scalability of blockchains are such that companies, individuals, even governments would be comfortable putting their processes on the public blockchain as opposed to the private blockchains that are emerging now. Just like the internet began with intranets because people weren't comfortable putting things out on the public internet, now they are. I think we'll reach a point when we want to put things on the public blockchain, and it'll dramatically decrease the cost of coordination in our economy. And that is the promise of Ethereum, whereas a lot of the other platforms don't really have a path to go from private to public.
As I see, blockchain is also a complicated technology, and some companies want to enter to this world, and some don't even have any idea about it. So which companies should enter this world, and what should be the strategy of the companies by having a strategy about blockchain itself?
Sure. So I see applications in almost every industry. On the part of Consensys, we've done projects for the oil and gas industry, the energy industry, governments, financial companies, almost anything that you can imagine. Typically what we do, typically what I see companies do is learning about the technology, learning how it can reduce their costs internally. Generally, it's fairly easy to map something that costs a lot now to do, usually something that involves coordination inside the company. Map that onto blockchain, run a proof of concept, understand how it can work, and then move into production. In many cases, we already have production systems running inside of companies, reducing costs globally for large corporates.
Okay, so I think this is your first time in Istanbul, in Turkey. And what are your expectations from Turkey, Istanbul, and what kind of not informal, I think, not private, as you can share with us. What kind of business plan do you have to do in Istanbul?
So here I'm meeting with some friends, meeting with people from BKG, and my plan is just to explore blockchain. There's a fintech conference happening right here as we stand. So my mission is just to spread blockchain and spread information about it here.
So my questions are over. Do you want to add anything else or underline something else?
I think just that I very much agree with your initial sentiment that this is the most important thing since the internet. This is going to dramatically change the way that the economy works, and I think that anyone should look into it that has any business process that is important to them.
Thank you very much for your time and for your interview.
Thank you very much.